Hare Krishna. Karmanyevadhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana. You have a right to perform your prescribed duties, but you are not entitled to the fruits of action. Very famous shloka of Bhagavad Gita. Wherever we see Krishna Arjuna poster, we see that the shloka written just below the image of the Krishna and Arjuna. So in the purport of the shloka, Acharya Srila Prabhupada is saying there are three considerations. There are prescribed duties and there are capricious work and inaction. There are three considerations here actually. So prescribed duties means it's referred to activities performed while one is in the modes of material nature. So this is actually we have to do our prescribed duty. Although we are in the modes of material nature, we will be given some duties, and that duty can be of a teacher or of a cultivator or of a student. We have so many duties, we have to do all those duties. But here there are some works which are not sanctioned by the authority. Who is authority? Why do we require any authority for anything? So this is what they are saying, karmanyeva adhikaraste. Means you have a right to do your duty. But what is the duty? Somebody had gone and done a murder and he told in the court, I was inspired by Krishna. And one foolish professor, he told how Bhagavad Gita is encouraging violence. That's why we have to learn Bhagavad Gita from disciplic succession, which is coming with an authoritative knowledge. In Ashtanga Yoga system, there is Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyana, etc. These are the procedures mentioned how to restrain our senses and increase our taste, higher taste. But generally what happens, these restrictions are given for people who are not really advanced in spiritual life, or they are not wanting to surrender to the Supreme Lord. So when one is actually in Krishna conscious or God consciousness, so automatically they will give up taste for all lower qualities of material world. So what is that? What we have to do is, one who is able to withdraw his senses from sense object, as a tortoise draws his limbs within the shell, is to be understood as truly situated in knowledge. Not that this example why they are giving is, just like there is a danger, when there is a danger, a tortoise is walking and going, it has a big shell on it. When there is a danger, immediately it takes away his senses inside. It is so common for it. And nobody can attack him. Similarly, the test of a yogi or a self-realized soul is that he is able to control the senses according to his plan, his or her plan. What happens right now, we are not trained, we are being influenced by others, we are being influenced by media, or anybody, just like a child can get carried away by somebody is moving around, they'll show one toy, you come near me, they may get carried away. So we get influenced like that. So this getting influenced like that is not the way of self-control. Here the secret is the one who is truly situated in knowledge. How can I make out what are the symptoms of them? The test of a yogi, devotee or a self-realized soul is that he is able to control the senses according to his or her plan, according to their plan. So this is a test. You may speak big philosophies, you may give lecture, But if you are not able to control your senses at a particular point, you are not able to withdraw your senses, then anybody can cheat you. It is said in this world, this is a sampradaya, this is a life, this is a world of cheaters and cheated. Vanchaka Vanchita Sampradaya. We are always getting cheated and we keep on cheating. This is the nature of this world. So the answer is the yogi, one who is compared, the senses which are compared to venomous serpents. The yogi know how to capture it and keep it. He will not leave it loose. The yogi or the devotee must be very strong to control the serpents, like a snake charmer. Snake charmer, he never allows the snakes to act independently. He removes that teeth, which are poisonous teeth, they are removed, that pangs are removed, and they are controlled. That time, whatever the snake charmer, they do like this, they also move this side, that side. So they know how to control it. Like similarly, the yogi or a devotee should know how to control it by following some do's and don'ts. And some of do's, just like it is said that you have to restrict from some sense enjoyment. If you go closer to fire with a butter, you pour butter on top of it and say it should not melt. Will it not melt? It will definitely melt. Similarly, we may pose ourselves as very great yogi, devotee, just like Vishwamitra Muni. The inner desires are like that only, they have not gone away. So he went and he was doing tapasya. But when Indra sent Menaka, a heavenly girl, so heavenly society girls are there for alluring. The moment he saw her, all the inner desires came out. So these are how conditioned soul are inside. So yogis, they are being advised, or even ordinary human beings like us, we are being advised with some rules and regulations, so that even if we actually are getting into such situations, how to deal with it. So they say that how two opposite genders, when they are, or whatever, people are getting agitated by your senses, are getting uncontrolled, don't be alone in such kind of places. This is advice. This advice is given not only to somebody who is very low class in his character, or who is not uncontrolled or controlled. For everybody this is applicable. Even if you are a very learned person, very controllable person, it is advised that better be away from your senses, getting active at any stage of life. You may be old, you may be young, or you may be educated, you may be uneducated, doesn't matter. But if you have an opportunity for your senses to get exposed, and it can act on the other living entity, and that living entity is also ready to get exposed. So then what happens? Your senses become very active. Then it is like venomous serpent. Anytime it can kill you. You cannot leave snakes in your house alone, and you cannot sleep peacefully. It is said that death is certain for people where there is snake. So similarly, whenever there are uncontrolled senses, anything can happen to you. So there are injunctions in the Shastra. So the best example is, what is this tortoise example, why it is given? Tortoise can at any moment wind up his senses and exhibit again that when at the time for a particular purpose. Again when you see there is no danger, again it slowly comes out and starts working. So our senses are required for us, not that we are not supposed to see anything. So suppose we try to see something, suppose we find something very beautiful, we should not see it for my enjoyment, but we should see it for the Lord's enjoyment. So that is what it is mentioned in the next verse, that Vishaya Vinivartante Niraharasya Dehina. So it is said that the embodied soul may be restricted from sense enjoyment, though the taste for sense object remains. Actually, it remains, it is there inside. But by experiencing a higher taste, he is fixed in consciousness. Param drištva nivartate. So we don't have to have like how we stop our senses by force, because we are right now conditioned. We require to do all this. Yama, niyama, asana, pranayama, pratyahara, dharana, dhyana. These are all recommended. But for one who has tasted the beauty of the Supreme Lord Krishna, this is not required. One is, right now you have to follow some rules and regulations. But when you are following the rules and regulations, for a yogi, the difference between an ordinary meditator and a person who is connected to the Supreme Lord and doing devotional life. Devotional life, they are not too much only on their controlling platform, I can do everything. There are some people who follow some kind of meditation or whatever yogic process or spirituality. They say, what is the need of God? The God has to give me compulsorily because now I am doing everything. I know how the system works. It is just like a faithless, some researcher on, or he is an atheist. They say, I know the formula how to do this. I am doing research and doing, what is the need of God? Similarly, if I do my karma, God has to forcefully give. What He has to give? What do you know about karma? You may be trying to enjoy everything. You may be trying to be moral in this world, and you will settle in this world. You will never know how to go back to Godhead. Lord Shiva, he says to Mother Parvati that she asked a question, which is the highest form of worship? So he is saying that if you want to worship, Aradhanam sarvesham Vishnu Aradhanam param. So you have to worship the Supreme Lord, that is the highest. But highest than that is to worship His followers, His devotees. So Mother Parvati, in other place also, when that Harinama was asked how we have to chant, Lord Shiva recommended chanting of the names of Lord Rama. In one more place, he says that I can bestow any wishes upon my devotees, but if you want moksha, liberation, then you have to go to Mukunda, the Supreme Lord Narayana Vishnu. So in this material world, you may get so many things by yourself or by approaching very powerful personalities or anybody. But if you want moksha, you have to approach the Supreme Lord and ask for liberation. So that there is a separate path. You cannot be so independent. This is how people they do. So the devotees of the Lord, they don't have to follow any mechanical means. Although on this present stage, we all have our duties. They do it as a duty. There are some, just like the tortoise example is given, we have to do it as a duty. We cannot say I am a devotee and imitate very advanced devotees who don't need to do that, although they still follow when they come to this world. We don't have to imitate them. But after doing our duty, we don't depend on our senses. Sometimes people ask, I am trying so much, Swamiji or Prabhu, I am trying so much, but still I am not able to control my senses. Stop controlling. Just do your duty of not associating with sense gratification. You cannot sit tightly in front of some sense object. What is sense object for my eyes are sense objects of seeing. What is sense object for my tongue I go and I see very tasty items which I am not supposed to eat. I am a patient, and at that time I am seeing I have to eat. I am a diabetic patient and I sit in front of lot of sweets. Then I say I control. I can control my mind. I can control my senses. Is it an easy task? This is what yogis do. Like this, one minute, 1 second, somebody can bring something to you and you will eat it off. Similarly, any sense objects you find, you may be saying, you may be thinking, oh, I will not do. Too much restriction you may be thinking. Moment you get it, you want it. That's the nature of the soul. The nature of the soul is Satchit Ananda. We all want happiness. So what kind of happiness I want is what we have to see. Our happiness should be connected to eternity. If I try to satisfy this body will not be happy without the soul, because the soul finally is eternal and this body will die. So body cannot be happy or sad. You are becoming happy and unhappy. So what we have to do? We have to follow some basic things, just like you don't have to be thinking of man or women. A man is always meditating on a woman and woman is always meditating on a man. Not on for them. It is for their own sense gratification. They are so conditioned for our own sense gratification, but we keep on meditating. So, therefore, it is very difficult to control the mind and the senses without being fully Krishna conscious. So, what we have to do? Without engaging the mind in Krishna, there is 2 words called Madana Mohana and Madana Dahana. Madan Mohan means one who can attract the Cupid, the love of God. He can attract him also, Cupid. And there is Madana Dahana. This Cupid can put arrows on anyone. Lust can come on anyone. If you are not the worshipper of Madan Mohan, the Supreme Lord Jagannath temple, the Utsava deity of Jagannath is called Madan Mohan. So this Madan Mohan, when we are worshipping Madan Mohan, the Supreme Lord, you will be saved from Madana Dahan. Dahan means get burnt in that lust. Lust actually burns us. It puts us in anxiety. We can never be peaceful with lust. Lust is very intoxicating. Lust is so intoxicating. There are examples of our sense objects. When we are seeing, just like some animals are there. So these animals, with each sense objects, one senses are very strong. Just like in the forest, the hunters use some music for attracting deer and some other animals. They get attracted when they go and they kill them. So that becomes their death. And there are elephants who are too much attracted for sexual appetite. They move around, and the hunters or people who want to catch elephants, they make a trap, elephant trap. They make a big pit and they send trained female elephants, and when this male elephant runs, it goes and falls into the big pit, and the female elephant goes away, different direction. The senses are strong means just like the tongue, too much strong for fish, but by that same food they put and try to eat that food and it gets killed. So one senses for one animal are very, very strong, and that becomes even death for them. In the human form of life, all the senses are very active and very strong. That's how it is said that even one sense gets carried away. You get carried away by one sense, just by seeing or by tongue or by hearing. Any senses can get carried away. It's just like a boat getting carried away by the waves of ocean. It's like tsunami, get carried away. Everything will be carried away. Your whole body gets carried away. So we should know how to deal with it by properly supplying it food. Yogi or artificial mechanical way of controlling is you control your senses by closing your mouth. I will not eat. I will not see. I will not hear anything. So this becoming silent or stopping the activities are not the solution. The solution given is very simple, that you have to control this by using it for higher senses. Param drishtva nivartate vishaya vinivartante niraharasya dehinam raso varjam raso api param drishtva nivartate. So you have to have higher sense. Just like doctor will say, don't eat that. That is not called fasting. Just like Ekadashi we do, it is not like in hospital they are fasting and we are also fasting. They are forced to do fasting. Here we have to do voluntarily fasting. That's why there are Ekadashi and different festivals. We say them also to take some prasadam, not artificially stop. By step they can do, and we can, that's why there are non-grain food. Even people who are not able to do fasting, they can do that. There are different levels of fasting. So not that we have to force ourselves like a patient. Patient, he always wants to eat. But it all starts with training. Nothing, it's not that I have to be so comfortably, I have to be working. I will not stop eating, but still I want to control my senses. It's impossible. So we have to follow some kind of austerity, but that has to be done by doctor's advice. If somebody thinks but the instruction of physician is forced not to eat, still within himself he has a tendency for eating. So you have to take under the direction of a physician. So Vishaya Vinivartante, one may be forced, refrain from enjoying materially, Niraharasya Dehina. But one who is spiritually advanced, he is not forced. He voluntarily gives up material enjoyment. We have seen even tea, coffee. Tea, coffee is so common in India or any place all over the world. So to give up even tea, coffee is so difficult. Even for people who stay in big spiritual organizations, mutt and ashrams, they don't even take water during some fasting days. But they can't give up tea and coffee. They ask sometimes, how are you, these Hare Krishna devotees? You give up tea, coffee, how come? It's very difficult to give up tea, coffee. They are ready to give up water on a fasting day, but tea, coffee they are not able to give up. This is the power of intoxication, even with tea, coffee. And sometimes they are surprised, oh, without onion, garlic, you can eat you can make so many items. Because they are so conditioned to eat with onion, garlic. When we say there are sattvic food, you can make so many varieties of food and offer to the Lord, and you can also take it. They'll think, oh, I can take like this also. So when you offer to the Supreme Lord, everything becomes wonderful. When you are not offering to the Lord, everything becomes difficult. That's the way of life. So otherwise you will be like Vishwamitra. Indra will send many beautiful women, go and induce them, and they will have their association, and that becomes again bondage. So when Vishwamitra Muni had controlled his senses for thousands of years, because in Satyuga they could stay for long time, not like 100 years now. So like that, even when they were sent and he was controlling his senses just like by a sound of her bangles, he got attracted and he thought, oh, in front of me there is something beautiful girl, let me enjoy, later I will see. And there was one girl born for them, Shakuntala, and after that he never wanted to see her and he wanted to go away. So this is the frustration. After you have sense gratification, is it fulfilling? The nature of sense gratification is two things. It is flickering, not fulfilling. but it is intoxicating. You again want, again it is not fulfilling, again you have frustration, again you want. So somewhere there should be a full stop. So regulated life means slowly they say, okay, you cannot give up. So you go through a marriage life and you get regulated and slowly you give it up. So this is what materially how to deal with it is, and spiritually how to deal with it is. You have to learn how to see the beauty of spiritual life, and that we will be able to refrain from material activities. We have to be always engaged in spiritual activities. Spiritual activities means yogastaha, be situated in yoga, always be in contact with the Lord. How food becomes prasadam? Because you are in touch with the Lord, you are in Krishna consciousness, you are in God consciousness, you remember the Lord in all your activities. Then rasavajjam, then engagement can be only possible when you have to have some transcendental pleasure in it. Until you are getting some pleasure, higher pleasure, how can you give up lower pleasure? So this is what here it is there. Suppose whole day I am working in mental atmosphere, then for 2 hours I meditate. Of course I will make some progress. But any spiritual action will not go in vain. It's a fact. But the progress will be very slow when you are only some little time I do. But if any activity I am doing, I offer to the Lord, just like I am working in an office, that I put my effort, whatever I am doing as my duty. Because that work, that money what I am getting, I am using it for service of the Lord. I am spending that money for offering to the Lord. I am eating that food, sustaining myself. So everything becomes God conscious, God centered, yogastaha. So this is how karmanyevadhikaraste can be applied in our life also. So Krishna is saying that just by becoming inaction, it is actually sinful. You don't have to stop your work. So you have to be fighting as a matter of duty. Was the only auspicious path of salvation. You have to just work, you have to do your duty. So how to do this duty is never mentioned anywhere in the posters. So how you have to do your duty is mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita. Yogastaha kuru karmani. So you have to do this duty. Be steadfast in yoga, O Arjuna. Perform your duty and abandon all attachment to success or failure. Such evenness of mind is called yoga. So you don't have to stop the work, but when you are doing the work, you have to do your duty equipoised. O Arjuna, abandoning all attachment to success or failure. So this is a secret actually, that from studying Bhagavad Gita, by thinking over the matter, we come to understand that we are not this body. Because everything we are running on this bodily platform. And if this is settled, when we are in a bodily platform, then we have to do some adjustment. So what is this adjustment required? Because we are encaged in this body, anyway we cannot stop identifying we are not this body, because right now we are encaged, we require food, we require sleep, we require some kind of engagement in our life, we require some earning. Anyway we have to do this. So I have to work with this body, I cannot work without this body. Still you can work in such a way that even with the body, you are situated on a spiritual platform. You are working, but you can work in such a way that you can remember that you are not this body also side by side. So how can I do that? Krishna is saying in the Bhagavad Gita that patram pushpam phalam toyam yome bhaktya prayachati. If anyone offers me in devotion, patram pushpam, a little flower, small leaf or little water, I will accept it. So there is the hand of God. How will he accept it? So without hand there is no question of taking. Therefore the Vedic hymn says, Apani pado javano grahita The Lord has no legs and no hands, but still he can walk faster than the speed of mind. He has no legs, but he can even walk faster than the speed of mind. And he can accept whatever we offer. That means he has no hands and legs like our limited hands and legs. Material hands and legs have limited. How much our hand we cannot stretch to my first floor or ground floor or right side house or left side house, we cannot stretch. But Lord's hands, when Vedas are saying that he doesn't have hand, he doesn't have legs, that means that he doesn't have a material hand and legs like how we are having. His hands are unlimited, with unlimited power, and his legs are unlimitedly accessible. Anywhere he can go, and as fast as he wants he can go. This is what is the meaning. And similarly, he can hear from anywhere. You may be sitting in your house or in your office. If you are chanting Narayana, Hari, Jagannath, Krishna, he can hear you. Jagadisha, he can hear you. So the Lord can be heard wherever you are, in whichever part of the world, because he is everywhere. That is the prerogative of the Supreme Lord, just like the sun. It is far, far away, but it can give the sunlight. So this is, if we work in God consciousness, even when we are in this material platform, we will know the presence of the Lord everywhere. We can feel the presence of the Lord, just like the sun is giving light. Similarly, it will be whatever we are doing in God consciousness, even though we are in material platform, that work will be accepted by the Lord. So this is called yogastaha. Yoga means keeping in touch with the Supreme. So there are different kinds of yogas in the Bhagavad Gita: Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Hatha Yoga. So here it is said, Yogastaha Kuru Karmani. Be situated in your yoga. So you have to be situated in yoga means, what is this yoga? Is it some exercises or meditation? Generally yoga is understood to be like that. But here yoga means to be in touch with the Supreme. Yoga means it's a link. Viyoga means you are separated from the Lord. Yoga means you are connected to the Lord. So yoga means plus, viyoga means minus. So here you have to be in yoga means you have to be in connection with Krishna. You have to be in connection with God. So yogastha kuru karmani, be situated in your yoga. But the real meaning of yoga is to be in touch with the Supreme. The Lord never says stop work. It is Krishna doesn't suggest something impractical things. Here Arjuna is a warrior. In the Bhagavad Gita he is not saying you stop. Like you have to go to your office. Lord will not say you stop going to the office. You have to do your duties. But Krishna doesn't also say that, oh Krishna, Arjuna also doesn't say, Krishna, you fight the battlefield, I will be sitting in the chariot. Nor Krishna says, I will fight, you sit in the chariot, because we both are friends. But he is saying, I am your friend, you just think of me and fight. This is what is the teaching of Bhagavad Gita. The technique of working on the spiritual platform is explained. Siddhi asiddhyo samo bhutva. You should not be anxious for success or failure of the attempt you are making. Like suppose you are selling something. You have worked very hard for your company and you have done your duty. Suppose the business doesn't happen for the company. You have sat in an IT department or some department and you have done your work. Maybe you are not the salesperson, but you have done your duty of your IT work or your any other work you have done. So you will be paid your salary until the company closed down. You will be paid your salary. So you are not really have to be concerned until you are told that you have to be concerned about this company gets profit or doesn't get profit. Although it's all connected to the company's benefit only. You will be paid your salary. It's just an example, crude example, for you to understand that even though you are doing your work, suppose you are in your work, when you are doing, you are done your best. But after that, it all depends upon how the company progresses. That one you don't have to take too much of a headache. That is common. They will also speak among each other, among their friends. I have worked so much, still this company is not happening, what can be done? So that is right only. So what we can do? But still we will be getting our money until the company is closed. We will be getting our money. So we will definitely get benefit from our work, what we have done. So if you are working, you don't have to be worried what will happen to my life, because you are only having your duty to work, nothing else more. So you have to act on behalf of the Supreme, and here it is said, for Arjuna also it is said, this fighting is Lord's plan, and if you are working for it, there is no action or reaction. Yogastaha kuru karmani tektva sangam dhananjaya. Don't be attached to profit or loss. Simply do your duty, don't care for success or failure. If you are studying in both success or failure, it is called yoga. Sangam tektva means don't be associated with the result of the work. Kartva means that you are the doer. Forget this. You are not the doer, you are being ordered to do it. When we do some work, we'll start feeling that it is mine, everything is mine. But when we say don't do it, then we'll totally stop doing the work. So we are not told to stop doing the work, nor when you are doing the work, too much start thinking that I am the proprietor. People are so conditioned to feel they are proprietors. There is so much of hatred. There is nothing wrong to feel something is yours. But nowadays, either in the name of language or region, you belong to a particular region. So you feel that it is your place, there is nothing wrong. But you will be always blaming the other region people are bad and how you are good, how your region is great. It is not that your region is not great because you are there or you are not there. Whatever is there, it is a property of the Lord. It is created by the Lord. You will stay for some years there and you will go away. But when you are staying there, you start identifying, I am so and so from that place. And then you start telling people that I belong to that place, that particular region of that part of the world. Then you start identifying with that language. So what is the best to be done? Should I stop? Do I not belong to that place? Do I not believe that? Should I stop believing that I am not speaking that language? No, we don't have to stop. Use it properly. Connect it to the real purpose. Like why communication? Why language is required? It is meant for communication. The tribal way of identifying anything is, this is my place. Just like in animals also, they make their boundaries. And they will not allow anybody from the other road to come, or they will be barking. So we should not become like such animal kind of propensities. We should not exhibit. We have to be liberal. The Vedic way of life welcomes everyone wherever they are going. There were no hotels. In the Vedic life, there was nothing called hotels. Wherever you go to anybody's village, they used to welcome them and they used to give them food. That was the way of life. So people were very liberal. Now with advancement of civilization, when they saw that whatever they were selling in their market, now the transportation has started, I can take and go to the city and sell. So people, when there was some food in the field, so much they used to get, they used to distribute. What a few members will do in the house. They will give to their servants, householder and few families. They will give to some charitable people, they will give to temple, they will give to village for some other work. So like this it used to be divided. The moment they saw profit because of transportation, they didn't know what to do. So they will go and give there, get some money, have alcohol or spend it on some other gambling. So previously villagers, everyday evening means after all their work, because it was only 3 months in a year they used to work. Sometimes again when rainfall comes, some other places in some when there is good yield, okay, again one more 3 months, second time crop also they used to do their respective duties for again next 3 months. So maximum 3 months, then again other part of 3 months. So other half year or more than that they are free. So what they were engaged? They were engaged in spiritual life, religious life. Every day evening they used to discuss Mahabharata, Ramayana. So this kind of activity has to be encouraged. In the village life, they were not trying to open factories. It was so natural. Now if you have to go to any village earlier, even now in Indian villages or some other villages where still traditionally it is going on, you don't require a plastic cover, plastic plate. They bring from leaves, they use it. Cooking happens in good quality vessels on some sticks available from their farm. So everything goes on so naturally and there is no harm. Now we are very progressed, we are every day having so much of scientific this, that and all. After that, you require so many paraphernalia. There is no zero waste. We are collecting so much of waste and we are becoming waste in our life. We are having so much of every day that much dirt we are creating, industrialization. We are so proud about industrialization. So zero waste management means what? Collect all the plastic together. Zero waste management techniques means, and you can give it to one supplier. That's the best solution they will give you. Instead of throwing outside, you nicely pack it and give it to somebody. Or you use it less. Means you have already created a fault and now you have to manage it, that's all. That is modern science. Nobody speaks about it much. Now there are in pollution, every day, day by day, what and all happens in the name of sports. How much electrical energy is spent. If you are giving some employment to somebody for something, it's all right. Or you are training people to help others, that's all right. But how much money is spent on advertisements, gambling, people pay money on it. So this kind of too much of propaganda for gambling also happens in the name of sports. Nothing wrong in just sports, but there are some sports which are too much advertised and it takes so much of money and cheating happens. Gambling means cheating. You cannot be truthful when you are gambling. A gambler is never a truthful person. So that's why among regulative principles, it is said that you lose truthfulness. So don't do gambling. No meat eating, no gambling, no illicit sex, no intoxication. Gambling, there are some sports or entanglement of life. anything in the name of entertainment. Nobody has questioned, like how they question, why are you constructing or building temples, or why do we require spiritual activities? Many people question. It has to be questioned how taxing happens in spiritual organizations. We have to go and do. We should have a separate committee for it to see to it that people are not misusing in the name of religion. So people who are after little education, and somebody who feels that they have a lot of logic, they feel that by their logic they can go and do research how they are wasting money. These religious people are wasting money with their followers. True, there are many religious groups who are wasting money with their fanatical approach, and they are making money. They are cheating people in the name of religion, and they have to be questioned. But the faith itself cannot be questioned, because faith and trust, these are so much common, you cannot disapprove it. You make some theory in the name of facts. That theory is also a faith. You may have done some research here and there, but that does not mean that is complete. So you require faith and trust. If you are going to a wrong person or a wrong faith, blind faith, like you also have blind faith on so-called researchers, and finally it will end up like this, with what is the research, what is your advancement of making so much of packaging industry, or you make some technical advancement and you make lot of propaganda. We had previously no cinema theaters, no television boxes, but people were healthy. Now we had big television boxes later, after it became smart TVs and also smart mobiles in our hands to watch television. At the end of the day, you are having pain, headache, frustration, depression. You are not at all peaceful. And for that, just like a mobile, somebody is holding a mobile. They say when the battery is getting over, they have done some studies, how they get into anxiety. Mobile was not the integral part of anybody's life. It was a luxury. Even some 2 decades back, it was a luxury only. Not that without mobile we can survive, but now it has become a necessity. Anything you do work which are not sanctioned, like it is mentioned here in the Bhagavad Gita, which are unsanctioned works, whatever you do, it will lead to entanglement. That even now, even though you are a spiritualist, now you cannot avoid using a mobile or a vehicle to move around. Suppose you have to reach from Delhi to Bombay, and you say you are a spiritualist. Now I will travel, I will walk and go. Maybe some religious people, they do that. But we cannot do our own work. Now if there is a facility to do something, we may use it. It may be useful for us. But you see the overall effort. When British made railways, they initially wanted to make trade from every part of India to take to Britain. But they made it in the name of religion. They told that you can go to pilgrimages, long places, so we are laying these lines, railway lines. So much of iron had to be brought, so much of effort has to be done. Just like now to make roads, how much of millions of money has to be spent. So much of rupees, so much of dollars are spent all over the world to maintain this kind of gadgets. After that, Whether human being is happy, are you happy? Yeah, maybe a few people, because it is like so much kind of uh, they make such a kind of show that anybody can get attracted. And that attraction is like child attraction, like children see some lights and nice sound, they get attracted. So it's only an audio visual effect. For audio visual effect, finally, what will the researchers say, or the modern leaders, they may say, you adjust yourself, don't spend too much of plastic and packaging, don't do, and if you are doing, you nicely pack it and make it into plastic packets and give it to a proper people, don't throw here and there. So these are the advices. You have reduced the quality of life, you have reduced the quality of water, everything we have reduced. But we are proud about genetical engineering, how nicely I mix two kinds of fruits and make it into a different kind of hybrid fruit. So we want to show how we are superior. I have got some higher enjoyment. You have developed one peach fruit to one more fruit and you call it one nectarian fruit. And after that, your regular fruit, what you used to get, nice apple, mango, banana, or any fruit, they are filled with only kind of chemicals. What is the use? You may be making so many hybrid ways. So a researcher may say, I am a great scientist, I will make for you two human beings, I can know how to do genetical engineering and you will survive whole life. You will have a very beautiful life. So these are called post-dated checks. Post-dated checks means, tomorrow somewhere I will be happy. So today you die. Tomorrow somebody will be happy. So a researcher will be doing research, he will also not be there. So there is, up till now, this kind of cheating was happening even in the past. Like people used to be kept in pyramids thinking that they will come after some time to life and they will enjoy life. So now if you are in the bodily platform, you will always be thinking how I can be surviving in this body and I can be happy. You are not having any kind of information that how you are not this body, but you have to be in the consciousness by here, just like it is mentioned, yogastaha, that you remain in yoga means you have to be in touch with God. How to be in touch with God? You have to eat your food. So when you have to eat your food, in Indian homes, especially traditionally, in traditional houses, there used to be one house, one room, which is allotted for the Lord. Now, even for bathroom, they are not having separate place. We are doing a lot of advancement. Our apartments are coming. If you see 3 decades back, there are no attached toilets and bathrooms. There used to be rooms and aside of it, there were toilets within the house. Maybe some 40 years back, the bathrooms were outside within the compound wall. Toilets were outside. And there was a separate house, toilet block was there, separate block was there. Now we have everything brought within the house, and within the house, within our bedroom, and slowly that is becoming so small. There is no proper place to take bath also. You see how in the name of advancement, your own luxuries you will also be cutting without your knowledge, because you are advancing. People used to have minimum 1 acre of land in villages with their animals also to stay. Now to park your own vehicle, you have to pay additional cost. If you go to a real estate or a builder of construction people, when you are taking house, your parking place also includes in your part of your plan, your budget plan. They say this is also part of it. So everything right now, in the name of advancement, now after you purchase your house, Then you have maintenance cost. You have to pay for, even if you have purchased your house, you have to pay every month some money for maintenance, because you are forced to purchase water, you are forced to purchase so many things, your maintenance. Previously there was nothing like that. If you are in your house, there is no maintenance cost, you have to maintain yourself. Water was available, every that 1 acre of land had a well or a pond or something, there was some natural resources. Now there is a petrol lorry, you have to spend diesel or petrol fuel, you have to fill water and come in it. Tankers are brought to supply water. There are big apartments, so much of technology is used, but you cannot manufacture water. It has to come naturally. We are hearing one report of Indian Institute of Science in Bangalore. They had done a research how Bangalore had more than 6,000 lakes. Maybe it is less or more. I may not be saying the exact number. More than 6,000 lakes. Now, these lakes were all buried or few got dried up. People started making concrete houses on it. Now for water, we are going and pumping from outside or trying to bring the other lake or rivers, Kaveri water. So this water, we are not manufacturing, we are trying to bring from natural resources only. Or you keep on putting bore wells, keep on digging it below the ground. Previously wells were not so much damaging. Ponds were not damaging. Even they knew which part of the well, where to do what, where is the sweet water, where we get. There were experts how to deal with it. Now we are all very advanced. So how much we are advanced? That we have now vehicles. The vehicles will go and bring for us water. Previously in my house I can just get water from my pond anytime I want. Now I have to pay money for it, so I am very advanced. Nobody questions on all these things. Only when they get, when they have no money or financial stress, they feel, I am not able to earn proper money. We don't have proper thing, but if money is there, okay, quality is not there. When money is there, they complain about quality is not there. But how quality will come? We have reduced our quality of life by our so-called advancement. We are no more doing our work the way God has recommended us to do our work. So that's why this authority system is so important. I have to accept the authority of God and make center of our lives God. So for one bathroom we are not able to have place. Now everything has become so small, so we have to adjust. So previously in traditional homes they used to have one puja room for the Lord, and the mothers or the householders who were cooking, they knew that I am cooking for the Lord. Every day they will make an offering. So they all know that now I have to go and bring vegetables, I have to offer for the Lord. They are also eating. How without eating we can remain? We cannot sustain ourselves. So the same eating anyway has to be done. So I am cooking and offering to the Lord. That's why patram pushpam phalam toyam yome bhaktya prayachati, and he is eating. The Lord has no hands, no legs, but he is accepting offering. This is the spiritual side of the Lord. But how is he tasting all this? He is accepting all the food. So the Lord has transcendental senses, and that's why you cannot see him or understand him by our own material senses. So our life, here it is said, this karmanyevadikaraste ma phaleshu, how it should be done. In the next shloka only we are learning how yogastaha, by situated in yoga, how we can connect anything, just like the powerhouse is surcharged with electricity, and how electricity can go everywhere. Similarly, we have love for the Lord means, like when we are having some guest coming, we'll try to see the best to be given to them. Similarly, the Lord is a divine guest in our house, is a supreme guest in our house. So when we invite the Lord, that is actually the principle of Vigraha Aradhana, deity worship. It is not idol worship. We call the Lord and we offer Him with love and devotion. And if you are actually having that love and devotion to the Lord will accept it. So you are earning for the Supreme Lord, bringing home things, and somebody is cooking, and when they are cooking to the Lord, naturally they will be clean, they maintain cleanliness, and they don't taste the food because they know I am offering to the Lord. Otherwise, every 2 minutes they'll be, oh, maybe this is bad or this is good. What will my children say? What will my uncle say? What will my grandfather say? Something like that they'll be always thinking. But when it is for the Lord, it's an experience. Many people say how previously they used to taste food before offering. But once they get that feeling that I am offering to the Lord, so let me not taste it. So what they do, they offer to the Lord. And later if there are some adjustments, little salt or some spices are required, they do that. But more than that, when they offer to the Lord, their tasting has reduced. Slowly they stop tasting. And they have seen that the taste is automatically more increased. I am able to take this food. It is so tasty without my adjustments earlier. Now also we do little adjustment. But the taste has increased because now I am offering to the Lord. There is a connection, there is a relation is there. So this is how you cannot avoid cooking, but you can cook with the understanding that this foodstuff is being cooked for the Lord. This is God consciousness. This is not at all a difficulty. So anyone can accept a small technique. What is that? I am earning for the Lord, I am eating for the Lord, I am cooking for the Lord. So how is that you are eating for the Lord? Because by you are eating, how God is eating? Because you are doing all these activities and you are dedicated your life for that. So why should I get worried? If I don't eat sufficiently to keep my body fit, I won't be able to work. So in this way, your eating is also God conscious. Your sleeping is also God conscious. We have to mold our life activities in that way. When I think that I have to keep this body fit for working for God, it is not bodily consumption of life. So in this way, we have to make adjustment. Not that you have to stop eating or stop sleeping or stop working. Even if you are going work, you are working outside, because I am working outside and coming, I am getting that resources, I am getting some money for maintaining my house, I have to maintain my body. You will know this. You are not in a bodily consumption of life like others who use this body for sense gratification just for the purpose of becoming strong and stout, which is a cause of bondage. But here it is mentioned, the idea is that anyone who is doing something for the sake of the Lord is freed from reaction. So this freeing from reaction, that is a technique of become yogastaha. Yogastaha kuru karmani. So we have to be in this kind of consciousness, and this karmanyevadhikaraste, perform your duty equipoised, abandoning all success, attachment to success or failure. Such equanimity is called yoga. So we will see how Krishna explains Arjuna not to stop work, but to continue work with the spirit of devotion. Stop here. Srila Prabhupada. Jai Jagat. Hare Krishna.